I'm Penelope Patrizio. The new year is here, and for this episode of WJMH Media, we'll be bringing you different resolutions that you should implement this year. Some common resolutions can be picking up a new hobby, better fitness, or diets, being kinder to others, or being a better person. We have many special guests with us to discuss today these resolutions, and WJMH anchor Ella Kennan joins us with our first one now.
Thanks, Penelope. People often make New Year resolutions to get more physically active and never follow through. Joining me now is Ralph Bacella from Miller's Fitness to tell us not only why you should follow through with your resolution this year, but also how. How could getting more physically active change your life?
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It can change your life because it will increase your quality of life, being able to do things you love in a more effective manner, and just being healthier for your family.
Okay, thank you. How does getting active help not only your physical, but also your mental health?
So when we exercise, our body releases hormones like dopamine and serotonin. That affects our brain, so when we exercise, every time we exercise and move, we're increasing our mental health. Also, we're developing a resiliency to handle stress.
Okay, thank you. How could people add more physical activity into their everyday life without going to the gym?
The easiest thing is starting with walking. Parking further away at Walmart, walking to get the mail, maybe taking a stroll around your neighborhood. And then from there, just increase by having fun and doing different games. Pickleball is picking up. You can play basketball at your local YMCA. And then you can always join our chiropractic center.
Okay, thank you. What would you suggest to people that just started working out?
Start slow, start small, limit yourself on days a week. Start with 2 to 3 days and then build 3 to 4, 4 to 5.
Okay, where can people sign up for a membership for Miller's?
We're located on 4th Street right in Moundsville. You can come in, you can set up an eval with myself or Dr. Miller. We have a wide variety of sports training, 24-hour gym access, and then chiropractic services right on location as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the importance of taking care of your body.
Absolutely.
For more information on Miller's Fitness, you can call 304-843-1192. Again, that's 304-843-1192. Coming up, join us as we look more into the health and how you can improve your diet. WJMH Reports will return after this break.
You're watching a WJMH Media production. We're an entirely student-run broadcasting program based out of John Marshall High School, whose goal is to connect, entertain, and inform. Along with many John Marshall High School productions, WJMH Media has also worked with WTRF, the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, Augusta Levy Learning Center, OVAC, West Liberty University, and the Marshall County Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube at WJMH Media.
Rope pride is not just a saying.
It represents who we are.
A pack of lions is called a pride.
The leader of that pride, the alpha lion, is called the monarch.
Here at John Marshall, our way of life requires teamwork,
hard work, and determination.
We don't just have pride.
We are pride.
Our pride is made up of each and every one of you.
When we stick together as a family, we can't help but succeed.
And when we roll pride, there's no stopping us.
Roll pride!
Marshall County Schools is currently accepting applications for substitutes in the following categories: aide, bus driver, cook, custodian, secretary, and teacher. Get more details about the openings at mcsjobs.net. Interested? Apply at mcsjobs.net.
Welcome back to WJMH Reports. Now that we've discussed fitness habits in the new year, it's important we discuss eating habits. Joining me now is WVU Director of Clinical Dietetics, Jill Spangler.
Thank you.
Why do you think eating healthier is a common New Year's resolution, and what can people do to follow through with it?
Eating healthy as a New Year's resolution is probably one of the biggest New Year's resolutions that we see. And as a dietitian, I feel like it's the end of the year, it's a new, fresh start. People want to make changes, and what better time to do it than with the new year coming in. However, I don't recommend it to patients. I tell them, live meal to meal rather than setting a date to start healthy eating. Healthy eating should be a part of our everyday life. And if we set up a time to start eating healthy, we may choose unhealthy foods up until then, sort of a last hurrah. So rather than giving yourself a starting point of a resolution, it's better to eat meal to meal.
Thank you. What is the difference between dieting and changing your eating habits?
Great question. Dieting is actually the food and drink that one consumes. If you look up diet in the dictionary, it's just the food and drink that one consumes. Healthy eating and a meal plan is more of a structured, making smarter changes, moderation. So 90% of the time eating healthy, 10% of the time treating yourself but getting back on track. So I try and stay away from the word diet just because it has a negative connotation, but it's not a negative word at all. We just have associated it with other four-letter words, so everyone thinks diet and thinks bad, but it's not. It's just what we eat and drink. So making those good choices would be the healthy eating part of it.
Thank you so much. What should your diet consist of?
So we recommend eating by the plate method. And with the plate method, we all actually have our own plate in our hands, where one palm of our hand is protein, one palm of our hand is carbohydrate, and we fill our fingers with fruits and vegetables. So the myplate.gov website talks a little bit more about all the food groups, trying to eat the rainbow, several different colors, different textures, just getting a variety.
Thank you so much. What does reducing your sugar intake do?
Reducing your sugar intake can help prevent diabetes. So diabetes just isn't caused by high sugar intake, but if you're predisposed to diabetes, meaning your family history, or if you're overweight or have other habits that maybe aren't as great, then eating excess sugar can then lead to diabetes, could also lead to weight gain. So trying to limit the sugar would be the best thing to do.
What are some healthy habits to incorporate into your daily life?
Drinking more water is one of the best habits that everyone can do. People say, well, I don't like the way water tastes, Jill. Well, find a way that you like it best. Maybe it's with extra ice, maybe it's room temperature. Find a water bottle that you like too and make it more of your own, and then keep it with you, and you're more likely to drink it. I think that's one of the best habits. Move more, eat less is another thing that I'll recommend to patients too.
Thank you. What supplements do you recommend to take daily?
So if we're eating that plate method, our hope is that we wouldn't need supplements. But for those that don't like fruits or vegetables, they would benefit from just a multivitamin. So again, trying to get more natural sources, but if you're not eating the rainbow, as we say, then trying to take a multivitamin every day.
If you eat all your fruits and vegetables and your proteins and your carbohydrates and you have a balanced diet, and then you take vitamins on top of that, is that bad, or is it?
Not necessarily, because there's still some gaps that we can fill. We may think that we're getting everything that we need, but unfortunately there's no perfect diet really, so there may be some days that aren't as good as others, so that vitamin would certainly be of benefit.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for coming in and teaching us more about our health.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Penelope.
Thank you. Jill does a lot of events throughout the community, so keep an eye out on social media for upcoming events. Improving your physical well-being is important, but emotional and mental well-being is important too. Stay tuned for how you can be a better person for yourself and others. That and more next on WJMH Reports.
You're watching a WJMH Media production. We're an entirely student-run broadcasting program based out of John Marshall High School, whose goal is to connect, entertain, and inform. Along with many John Marshall High School productions, WJMH Media has also worked with WTRF, the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, Augusta Levy Learning Center, OVAC, West Liberty University, and the Marshall County Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube at WJMH Media. Marshall County Schools is currently accepting applications for substitutes in the following categories: aide, bus driver, cook, custodian, secretary, and teacher. Get more details about the openings at mcsjobs.net. Interested? Apply at mcsjobs.net.
Welcome back to this special edition of WJMH Reports. One New Year's resolution that people always mention is giving back to the community. Susie Baker is a Marshall County Schools employee who has been dedicating her whole life to community service and recently won the 2023 Dr. David Ely Community Service Award. She joins me now to tell us how we can help make the world a better place through community service. Who or what inspired you to start getting so involved in the community?
That probably happened because growing up so poor, I didn't have anything, so I knew that I wanted other people to have things. I probably knew when I was 5 years old that I wanted to start giving back just because I didn't have those things.
Okay. What makes you want to continue to give back?
It almost isn't for them, it's almost for me. It makes my heart feel so good to be able to help these families. This year we did 169 kids for Christmas, and that's all been in my office. And my office isn't very big, but it's just something that needs done. The families need our help, and every year the families change. It's not the same names every year, so and they need our help. And it's nice for them to know that we care about them. And I've always said it's never been a handout; it's always been a hand up.
Yeah, thank you. What do you feel you've done in the community that has made the biggest impact?
It'd probably be my back to school fun fair, which is every year before the kids go back to school. This year we did close to 2,000 kids, and they get school supplies and backpacks and toiletries and food, and that's probably the biggest thing that I do every year. And then I do the feed program on Fridays, and then I do the Christmas, and we, like I said, 169 kids this year for Christmas.
That's amazing. What piece of advice would you give to someone that wants to start making a change in the community?
I would say just do it. Don't say I'm going to start doing it. How about January 1st we decide this is my resolution, I'm going to do it. Because they need you. These families need us. They absolutely need us. They need to know we care about them.
What would you say the first step someone could take is?
They absolutely could call my office. I could use them every day. I could use them as classroom tutors. I could use them to help in the library. They can start by calling my office. That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Susie, and once again, congratulations on being awarded the 2023 Dr. David Ely Community Service Award.
You're welcome.
There are many ways to help within the community, from just picking up a piece of trash on the side of the road to helping with a local sporting event. No matter how big or small, it won't go unappreciated. Coming up, see how you can budget your finances and learn more about saving money in the new year. WJMH Reports will return after this break.
You're watching a WJMH Media production. We're an entirely student-run broadcasting program based out of John Marshall High School, whose goal is to connect, entertain, and inform. Along with many John Marshall High School productions, WJMH Media has also worked with WTRF, the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, Augusta Levy Learning Center, OVAC, West Liberty University, and the Marshall County Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube at WJMH Media. Marshall County Schools is currently accepting applications for substitutes in the following categories: aide, bus driver, cook, custodian, secretary, and teacher. Get more details about the openings at mcsjobs.net. Interested? Apply at mcsjobs.net.
Welcome back to WJMH Reports. It's a new year, and keeping track of your finances is very important. It can be hard sometimes, though. That's what our next guest is here to give advice on. Joining me now is Edward Jan's financial advisor, Daniel Young. Why is it important for people to keep track of their money?
Sure. Thanks, Penelope, first for having me here. I think it's very important. You simply don't know where you're going until you know where you are. Mm-hmm. So when our world in financial advising seems opaque and difficult to sort through, it comes down to understanding where your money is and how it's working for you. the type of risk you need for the required rate of return necessary to accomplish your goals, whether those are short-term, like saving for a house or a car or even a cell phone, to longer-term goals such as retirement savings. By knowing these things, you can develop a plan to navigate your boat through choppy water, so to speak, and you'll know what is required from you to accomplish these goals. Otherwise, it may just seem like you're throwing mud at the wall and hoping that it sticks, and realizing you started these goals much too late.
Thank you. How can people effectively budget?
Oh, good question. So I think the most important thing, perhaps the most boring part of understanding how your money works, is budgeting. So think of your budget as a work in progress, something that you're striving towards accomplishing. So we use worksheets typically that outline a myriad of expenses and income goals that folks would put together and understand where they are in their cash flow, I suppose. But it would lay out common expenditures balanced with your income that you may receive from your job or an allowance, royalties, etc. So your budget should always be updated annually and broken down monthly. And if you put together an annual budget, you'll know where you need to cut expenses, and if you have a surplus or shortfall, to help determine additional savings capacity.
Thank you. How can students my age start planning their finances, and why is it important to start planning now?
So maybe the best question, and I so appreciate this one. The first place is within your family construct. So it's not lost on me. Typically, as you grow up, you learn a lot from the folks that raise you, and typically that's your family, and you learn a lot about how they manage money from those conversations. So you should ask somebody that you trust about how they started saving and why it's important to them. And what changes they would make, if any. So most would answer the last question by saying they wish they started sooner. We get that all the time. You can open a bank account used for savings from work income with your parents' help. This could be the basis for understanding compound interest. A simple example would be I put $100 in the bank and I earn 5%. So I have $105 starting next year. And so if I earn another 5%, if we keep that constant, I would be earning 5% not on $100, but now on $105. So my money is working for me without doing anything. And the sooner I can get that function to work in my favor, the better that I will be. So if you have earned income, you can also do other things like retirement accounts, maybe a Roth IRA that could grow tax-free, and understanding the cost of college tuition and how that is ultimately responsible, or who is responsible for paying those costs. That is one of the biggest opportunities for discussion you can have. And at the end, I'll be happy to share some resources for younger folks, a book that would help you get started and understand some of the germane terminology for financial advising, as well as Edward Jones offers an education tutorial modules that younger folks can learn on a website, and I'll be happy to share that a little later.
Okay, thank you. What advice would you give to those whose New Year's resolution is to save money?
The first thing I'd say was, great! Save money! Yes, New Year's resolution, that's the thing. I think the hardest part is getting started, right? Mm-hmm. So acknowledging you need to save somewhere, but maybe you don't know the best place to start. My advice is to give yourself a deadline, putting a reminder in your phone or your calendar, and telling a friend or family member about your goal so you're held accountable. Starting with an amount initially, whatever that amount may be, and gaining a better understanding by learning will help your success. But just start with a monthly amount that you can afford within your budget, and that's a great place to start.
Thank you. How can financial advisors help people reach those goals?
So one last good question, many good questions. Think of the financial advisor like a quarterback or the conductor, sort of steering the conversation and developing these strategies. So there's an acronym that we use. We would engage with individuals in conversation, and we would gather specific data. We would analyze that data, develop the strategies to meet those specific goals, implement those strategies, and monitor by partnering together to help you stay on track, or folks stay on track. So we do this in conjunction with your other service professionals and resources to help accomplish your goals.
Thank you. What questions should someone ask when looking for a financial advisor?
One last thoughtful question. So I think if I was to internalize, if I was on the other side of the desk, what I would ask is, what services do you provide?
Oh, yeah.
And who will be working with them, and who makes the decisions? What licenses do they have, and are they a fiduciary? And if not, how do they ensure the decisions they're made are in the client's best interest, on their best interest? And what are the fees for your services? How do they pay? That's not an awkward question. It's a business relationship. And what risk or return is required to accomplish some of those specific goals? And lastly, maybe not a question, the financial advisor should be competent in the advice that they're giving and available using their expertise to help solve various outcomes. But ultimately, you want to work with somebody you feel comfortable working with.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're very welcome.
If you are interested in speaking more with Daniel, you can call his office at 304-243-1887. Again, that's 304-243-1887.
And if I may, the website you can look at is wisdom.edwardjones.com. And I brought a book called OMG for teenagers, which is a great start to help you learn about finances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After this break, we'll dive into a new hobby you can learn for this year. Stay tuned for more WJMH reports.
You're watching a WJMH Media production. We're an entirely student-run broadcasting program based out of John Marshall High School, whose goal is to connect, entertain, and inform. Along with many John Marshall High School productions, WJMH Media has also worked with WTRF, the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, Augusta Levy Learning Center, OVAC, West Liberty University, and the Marshall County Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube at WJMH Media. Marshall County Schools is currently accepting applications for substitutes in the following categories: aide, bus driver, cook, custodian, secretary, and teacher. Get more details about the openings at mcsjobs.net. Interested? Apply at mcsjobs.net.
Welcome back to WJMH Reports. Many people want to pick up a new hobby in the new year. Joining me now is Miranda Zabrowski, who turned her hobby into a profession. What inspired you to be a photographer?
What really inspired me to be a photographer, I've always been kind of into artsy stuff. So then from there, I just really enjoyed being around people and stuff like that. So I kind of just combined the two of those. I started early on whenever I was in elementary school, just on old little film cameras and stuff like that. I used to take pictures of my Barbie dolls and Bratz dolls and make them pose for me. So then from there, I just kind of moved on to doing people and stuff like that.
That's so cool. What's your favorite thing about being a photographer?
I think my favorite thing about being a photographer is I've got to see people grow in their own lives. I've taken engagement pictures for people, ended up doing their weddings, ended up doing their maternity pictures, newborn pictures, taking their family pictures. I just really love watching people grow within their own lives.
Nice. What type of sessions are most popular in the early months of the year?
I think a lot of people really love the fall pictures. The fall pictures are really, really popular. All the pretty leaves and stuff like that. A lot of people like that.
Thank you. If someone wanted to take up photography in the new year, what advice would you give them?
I would say definitely learn patience. You have to have patience in this kind of profession, definitely with kids. Kids do their own thing, they run around. You just gotta let people be who they are.
Thank you. What are your New Year's resolutions?
I would say my New Year's resolutions are to stop comparing myself so much to other people and other photographers, and I think people that are also going to get into this business too, they need to not compare themselves so much and just do what they do and just be happy with it that way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Miranda, for joining me today. Each week at the end of our show, we share the weekend pictures with you. This week, Miranda shared photos with us to showcase some of her work.
Thanks again to Miranda Sobrowski for providing us with this week's pictures, and all of our in-studio guests for taking the time to come talk with us on this episode.
Celebrating the new year and setting resolutions is always so exciting, and we hope this episode helped you set and make a plan for some common resolutions. Penelope, will you be making any New Year resolutions?
Yeah, probably. I've been thinking about it. I want to get better about completing my schoolwork in a timely manner in 2024. What about you, Ella?
Well, I just maybe want to learn how to do the splits or something. I want to be crazy this year, like do some new things I'd never really do, you know? Yeah. Get a little out of my comfort zone.
I really get that. Yeah.
And as a group at WJMH Media, we promise to continue bringing you stories and events from around the community.
For now, we'd like to thank you, our viewers, for watching this special edition of WJMH Reports and for your support in 2023. We'd also like to thank WLU-TV and Xfinity for airing WJMH Reports.
We'll be back soon with our regularly scheduled episodes of WJMH Reports. For Penelope Petrucci and everyone here at WJMH Media, I'm Ella Kennan. Thanks for watching and Happy New Year.
You're watching a WJMH Media production. We're an entirely student-run broadcasting program based out of John Marshall High School, whose goal is to connect, entertain, and inform. Along with many John Marshall High School productions, WJMH Media has also worked with WTRF, the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, Augusta Levy Learning Center, OVAC, West Liberty University, and the Marshall County Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube at WJMH Media. Marshall County Schools is currently accepting applications for substitutes in the following categories: aide, bus driver, cook, custodian, secretary, and teacher. Get more details about the openings at mcsjobs.net. Interested? Apply at mcsjobs.net.
A monarch is fierce.
A monarch has pride.
A monarch is dedicated, determined,
and dominant.
A monarch isn't afraid of a challenge.
A monarch is strong-willed
and powerful.
A monarch is always ready for a battle.
A monarch is a leader.
A monarch's heart is fueled by fire.
A monarch demands attention.
A monarch is mighty in strength
and in spirit.
A monarch never backs down.
Whether on the field or in a classroom, a monarch always gives 100%.
Every time, no matter what.
Let's go Monarchs!